frontal production.
So we're going to start off by bleaching the knots on our frontal. Now I'm going to be taking the True Zone Rapid Blue bleach and I'm going to be mixing it with the True Zone 30 Volume Developer. I want it to be very thick, so I guess an approximate ratio for you guys is 2:1, but I eyeballed it. But you definitely want more powder than you have developer, because you want this to be, in my opinion, about like peanut butter consistency, really thick. The reason why I say that is because you do not want this mixture to be runny and seep through the lace and over bleach your knots. And for me, I've just had a tendency of constantly over bleaching my knots, so I'm very cautious. So yeah, I'm making it really thick so that I try to avoid it as much as possible. So yeah, as you can see, it's not dropping off the brush very easily. It's real thick. So this is the frontal that they sent me. It is 16 inches and it did come pre-plucked, which was really great because the plucking was A1, guys. So I'm going to take a kitchen knife and just spread it on, literally like peanut butter. I'm going to spread it on there and I'm gently touching it. This video obviously is sped up, so it looks like I'm doing the most, but definitely take your time while doing this. I'm going to leave this bleach on for quite a while, so I'm not worried about getting this on quickly. I just want to get it on as evenly as possible, but I just want to get it on. So yeah, spread it on there, take your time and just, you know, be gentle. Now that it's pretty much on all of the frontal, including the hairs at the front, I'm just going to leave the bleach on there for about 1 hour and then move on to mixing our bleach for actually dyeing the bundles. Now you want this to be quite loose, about like a yogurt consistency. It does not have to be thick at all. You obviously want to be generous with your developer, but yeah, just mix it thoroughly so that you don't have clumps of powder in there and you have enough to bleach all 3 bundles. Now these are the gorgeous straight hair bundles that DIY Hair sent me and they're absolutely beautiful. Now this is the 14-inch bundle and I'm not too worried about creating highlights at the bottom of the hair since it's pretty much going to get chopped off. But I do want to start creating highlights towards the middle of the bundle. So how I do that is I take the brush vertically and stroke some bleach through the hair and then leave it on for about 5 minutes extra. This is going to create highlights and lowlights, and these places where the bleach is being touched are going to be the highlights. But when it comes to the 14-inch bundle, I'm not too concerned because obviously it's going to be at the nape of my neck. But for the 16-inch bundles, you do want to focus on creating that highlight and low light variation. I am making sure that I am not creating a very harsh line of demarcation as to where the bleach starts and it stops. So I am just making sure that where that line is, I just take the brush vertically and obviously feather that line out so it's not this ugly straight line. But yeah, like I said, this is a 14-inch bundle, so I'm not too concerned. Now I'm just going to move real quick through doing these 3 bundles. There are loads and loads of tutorials of bleaching hair on YouTube. If you want me to do a more detailed one, I will do one in the future. I just didn't think it was that important in this one because our main focus is the color. But one thing I can say about this hair is it lifted really quickly. You're just going to want to make sure that you apply enough bleach so that there are no black patches in this hair, because if you don't dye a strand of hair or a couple strands of hair, when you apply the color will not deposit on the hair. It won't change the color of the hair at all, so you will still have black streaks in your hair. That doesn't really matter if the hair itself is really dark black and if you're dyeing it a darker color, but because this is going to become like a pinkish purple color, we don't want any streaks of black through this hair. So yeah, I left the bleach on for a total of about 20 minutes and I'm just rinsing it off in my bathroom, and I'm going to give you guys some close-ups as to, you know, how the tones ended up. Now I'm using some neutralizing shampoo which is going to stop the bleaching process, and I'm going to allow the hair to sit in the neutralizing shampoo just for a little bit just so that the hair doesn't bleach anymore. If you do not rinse out your bleach thoroughly and use a neutralizing shampoo, your hair will continue to bleach, and it will end up, in a few days you'll notice that your hair is getting a bit lighter, but it's also getting very dry. That's because the chemical is still on the hair and it will dry it out. You do not need that in your life. Look at this golden beautifulness, please. It's scrumptious. Yeah, definitely doing that technique of turning your brush vertically and putting some highlighted strokes in your hair just before you deposit all of the bleach on top really does work. By the end of this time, my frontal knots are pretty much bleached, so I'm just going to rinse them off. I've also gone ahead and ombre the frontal. I actually thought I was recording it. Turns out I wasn't, obviously. So yeah, I just went in and I dyed my frontal, and I'm also using the neutralizing shampoo not only on the bleached hair but on the knots as well. You don't want your knots to be over processed. If you do not wash your knots with neutralizing shampoo, the likelihood is in a couple of days your knots are going to start falling out. So we're now going to move on to doing the colouring process. I'm going to take the Colour Protection Conditioner from Tresemme and the Adore Semi-Permanent Hair Dyes in Violet Gem and Rich Eggplant. Now for the frontal, I'm going to deposit all of the Rich Eggplant colour into this container and add a squeeze of the Violet Gem. Now the Violet Gem is going to add a pink tone to the frontal, but the Rich Eggplant is going to allow it to be darker than the hair bundles, just so that when it lies on my face, obviously because I'm dark skinned, it's not too pink. I didn't want it too vibrant, but yeah, I'm going to dilute it with some conditioner and mix that up, and then I'm going to deposit it onto the frontal. Now I don't know if it's because I didn't tone the frontal or if the frontal is just too warm of a blonde, but the colour ended up being quite warm and a bit rusty, which I actually ended up liking. But if you want a more truer purple colour, I would recommend you bleaching your hair twice. Now that can do obviously a lot of damage to your hair, especially your frontal, because frontal hair already is hugely compromised because of the fact that the cuticle has to be stripped. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Despite the fact you are seeing a very vivid purple color, it didn't end up turning out that way. It came out more pink. But yeah, right now I'm adding all of the Violet Gem to the rest of that mixture, so my bundles are going to end up being a lot more pink than my frontal is, which they actually did. So like I said, there are loads of tutorials on colouring and bleaching online, so I'm going to rush through this part and just add all the colour to the 3 bundles. I'm not doing anything fancy whatsoever. I'm just trying to make sure that every strand is coated, and yeah. Now we're going to head to the bathroom, and I'm going to use this Tresemme Illuminating Blonde Shampoo to wash out the dye. Though I do know this hair is not blonde anymore, I'm using that shampoo to help not affect the colour in any way. You don't want to use any shampoo with colour, just in case it alters this colour. Just be careful. So I'm going to use that shampoo, and the shampoo is actually white, so it doesn't affect it at all. I'm just going to rinse out the colour till the colour, really the majority of the colour comes out, because the hair was still bleeding, as you can see, even in cold water after I had rinsed it for like a good 20 minutes. So I just think this hair color does bleed, which is no problem, but just make sure that it's not going to transfer onto your clothes. And this is what it looked like. There are tonal variations, which was what I was going for. As you can see, this is what it looks like air dries. There are some parts that